Howdy folks, I'm Serene Spring Snowflake, sweetly savoring sunny spaces.
I'm Amber.
And here are more sunny spaces for us to savor, because we're flowers and that's what we do. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Saying That It Can't Be That Hard? My wife is a 36-year-old female and I'm a 46-year-old male, and we have been married for 15 years. We have 4 kids, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 3-year-old. My wife has been a stay-at-home mom for our entire marriage, while I, until recently, have worked 3 weeks away and 1 week home, which means that my wife has done about 90% of the household chores our entire marriage. Work changed recently, and now I'm home pretty much all the time and traveling much less often. All of the kids are on summer break right now, and my wife made a comment while getting into bed about how much more her workload has increased with all of the kids being home. I offhandedly said, the older kids pretty much look after themselves, so how hard can it really be? Wrong thing to say in hindsight. My wife said that since it's so easy, I could take over. Well, it's been a week and the ship is sinking. Our older kids do a lot of their own chores, dishes, laundry, and the bathrooms, and the younger kids pick up their toys, etc. But there are just a million other tedious little things I didn't realize needed to be done, like scrubbing fingerprints off the walls and door frames, and dusting things like ceiling fans, wiping down windows, sweeping and vacuuming all the time, and just so many small things that it seems to take up so much time. The house seems tidy, but it doesn't feel clean like it normally does. I apologized profusely to my wife and she accepted. But I was talking to my mom about it and she reamed me out for being a jerk, saying that my wife has done more than she should have to put up with this for a decade, and did you just think that a magical cleaning fairy came in and handled all of this at night? My wife agrees with my mother and now wants to switch up the way that we do chores. Though I said if I'm working and being the only financial provider, then I think that the split is fair. She said that she would get a job and then we can split chores evenly, and I told her that she was just being petty. My mom is fully on my wife's side, but she was also a stay-at-home mom, so I feel like she's biased. So am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, OP, you are the jerk. It sounds like your wife is realizing that she has the short end of the stick when it comes to your household division of labor and is finally realizing her worth. And that is great for her. Not so great for you, but it's about time you finally start pitching in adequately into your household.
Yeah, but I do also think that she probably is more proficient at these skills, so it probably takes her less time. And I'm not saying that this is a justification for how OP feels, but it kind of shows that he undervalues the skill and labor that is required to do these jobs. And I think that his comment about her being petty, I don't think that has anything to do with it, right? The kids are old enough to take care of themselves. Maybe she's just tired of being at home and doing all the chores all the time, right?
Right, I think she's realizing when she left it to OP for a week that, wow, I like not having to do this. Like, and if it means getting a job to get out of some of this chore distribution, sure. That's not petty. That's realizing that she really has the harder job.
Mm-hmm. So I do think that OP may have not really understood the amount of work that she was doing, and that really isn't on OP in the respect that if he was away 3 weeks at a time and then not really seeing like the amount that she was doing, then I think that was maybe something that was kind of hidden from him. But he shouldn't be undervaluing or underappreciating the amount of work that she does, or even kind of like pushing it aside and being like, oh, really, how bad can it be, right? Because clearly a lot worse than he thinks. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Serving My Wife Less Food Than Me and Our Guests? And Amber wants to read this one.
My wife is a 25-year-old female, and I'm a 29-year-old male, and we've been married for a year but together for 4. Ever since I met her, she has had a weird habit surrounding food. I noticed it in our very first date. Instead of eating equally everything on her plate, she eats the sides first, then the main, and then drinks her drink. I eventually asked her why she does this, and she said she doesn't know, but she can't stomach eating a bit here or a bit there of different things. She doesn't like when different things get in her stomach at the same time. Because of this, she often gets full before she even eats half of the main, and then she gets hungry later or upset because she couldn't taste the main food. Sometimes she wants to drink with everyone else, but she simply can't let herself. So now every time we make dinner, I serve her a lot less than what I think she will eat. This way she eats all the sides, then gets to the main and actually can eat it, try it, and enjoy a drink. If she is hungry still, she has no problem doing the same thing twice. It's just a quirk she has. It doesn't bother me. This past weekend, we hosted dinner for her sister, sister's husband, and a mutual couple friend. I saw her sister eyeballing her plate as I gave it to her, but I assumed she also knew the food thing, and maybe that's why. Well, after dinner, of which my wife ate her first plate of food, her drink, and then a bit more of a second, her sister approached me as I was doing dishes. She asked me why I was limiting my wife's food. I kind of laughed because I was surprised by this and said I'm not, and explained what I said up there. Her sister told me that it was unacceptable and that my wife was allowed to eat how and what she wanted. I explained I absolutely agreed. This is just something really small that helps her. But her sister was mad and even took it as far as telling the other couple. I cleared it up with that couple who said they didn't care, nor did they believe I was starving my own wife. Am I the jerk for doing this?
All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. It sounds like OP has found a system that works really well for his wife. And like, I get where she's coming from because I have systems when I eat where I like to save the best thing for last. I eat it systematically like she does, but then, if you have two big portions, you get to the end, and then I can't even eat the best part. So I definitely get where she's coming from on that, and it seems like they have a system that works, and don't broke what don't fi- if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand where the sister is coming from here.
Absolutely.
Right? I think that she's right to be concerned to some degree, but maybe this is a conversation to have with the sister as well. If she's really this concerned, right? Or is be like, is he starving you? Right?
Yeah.
And clearly, if she was able to get seconds on her own and then serve up herself the amount of food that she wanted, and then I don't think that this is really indicative that she is being starved or anything like that, right?
Right. Like, I can definitely understand the sister's concern, and I don't think there was anything wrong necessarily about approaching OP, although I think her sister would have been the better person to approach. Because if OP was denying her food, he's probably not going to come right out and say it.
Yeah.
The only place I think where she went wrong is then like doubling down. Instead of going to talk to her sister and make sure that everything's all okay, doubled down and started dragging other people into this argument.
Yeah. It would have been different if you had like slapped her hand away from reaching for seconds and been like, no, you eat what we gave you, right? I mean, you're done. You had your first plate. That's over, right? But with her getting seconds, I really can't see how the sister is this worried or concerned. It's just clearly something that she's like cycling through, and I just don't see it being a problem. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, My Boyfriend Says That I'm Weak for Anxiety. I'm a 28-year-old female and I have OCD. My main themes are around dying, health OCD, severe psychiatric disorders such as psychosis and schizophrenia, as well as religious OCD. I'm in therapy and I feel that I've improved a lot. Last night I was taking a bath and my brain decided to spiral about how I could die any given second and I could never see my son again. So I started implementing the tools that my therapist had given me and it helped. I would say that I was right on the border of entering a full-blown panic attack, but I never actually crossed that line. My boyfriend, a 38-year-old male, and we'd been together for 4 years, came in to ask me why I was sitting on the bed, and I told him that I'm having some anxiety about dying, and I'm just trying to work my way through it. He went on to tell me that I'm weak for not being able to control my thoughts, to consider how my anxiety makes him feel, and how exhausting it is for him, and went on for about 5 minutes screaming at me about how I need to learn to control my thoughts and have mental fortitude. He's a surgeon, but for some reason he doesn't believe mental health problems are real or that therapy works, which is confusing to me. To the point that I ended up crying and counting to 20 in my head while tapping my fingers over and over, one of my compulsions, until I felt better. He said that this is proof that therapy isn't working, that I'm not taking it seriously, and you're a failure. I understand that dealing with mental health problems can sometimes be a lot for partners, but a hug and it's okay, I'm here for you is all I really wanted or would have expected in this situation. Feeling safe and reassured would have been nice in that moment. I guess my question is, am I in the wrong? Should I keep my mental health to myself? Is there a way that I can not maybe be such a burden on him or stress him out when I have my intrusive thoughts? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, OP, you are absolutely not in the wrong. Your partner has this really backwards. And so, as someone who has struggled with anxiety, the last thing you want to do is try and control those impulsive thoughts. Like what he calls mental fortitude is not it. It sounds like he just doesn't have mental health struggles, maybe, and so doesn't understand what it's like. But the problem is if you try and like block that out, that just makes your brain like attached to those thoughts more and makes you more likely to spiral.
Yeah.
What you want to do is to try and reduce the attachment to those thoughts, and they will still come into your head. If you sufficiently like reduce the attachment, they may become less frequent, they may not, depending on your brain. But your end goal shouldn't be to just make the thoughts go away. It should be to try and make them so that you're a little bit separate from them, so it's not as like all encompassing, like I have to focus on this now and this is what my brain's going to do.
Yeah. And I think that learning meditation and learning some of these coping skills could really help OP out a lot. And I think seems like they are helping OP, and they
Absolutely.
are making it so that she doesn't have to have these intrusive thoughts. And I mean, when I was a child, I actually had some pretty terrible intrusive thoughts. And one of the coping mechanisms that I kind of learned over the years was to tell myself that, I understand that this is important to my brain, but this isn't really important to think about right now, and that I can write it down and think about it tomorrow if I need to, or something like that. And those kinds of coping mechanisms, I think, have really helped me not have the same kind of like thought patterns that I had at one point in time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that OP seems like they're getting actual help in therapy, and there are certainly tools that you can use to help mitigate these thoughts and feelings. And as for being a burden on OP, he's the one who asked, right? OP
Yeah.
was taking care of this and dealing this in their own way. It wasn't like she came to him and was like, I can't, I need you to do all these things for me in order to help me be in a better state, right?
Right. Well, and every person is a burden at different points. Like we all have different demands. Does he expect OP to do things around the house maybe? Like I'm sure there are things he does in OP's life that puts some sort of burden on her.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this particular situation, she wasn't even really burdening him. She was just expressing, like, she has her, I'm coping, I'm doing this thing, this is what I'm doing. But even if she needed help from him, sometimes that's a trade off in relationships. Like, you should care enough about the other person that, you can trust each other with talking about, to some degree, like, you may not be able to divulge everything or need to divulge everything, but you should not be able to, but your partner shouldn't just like yelling at you if you're like, oh, I'm having a little anxiety.
Yeah. And one last thing, I think that he may be dealing with thoughts himself about like life and whatnot, right? Because like he may be to the point where, he's getting to that age where he's thinking about life, how far he is in life, and how much time he has left potentially, and stuff like that. And that can be, those can be scary thoughts, and maybe this is kind of what's eating at him. And if that's the case, then maybe he should go into therapy and kind of like work through some of these feelings, because existential dread, that's part of life. That's something that you have to face at some point in time. And it's just something that you have to actually accept and work through. And I don't think OP should be with this person at this
No.
point in time. I think that this is a good time to leave this relationship, because this person is clearly not going to be there to help and support them. If anything, it seems like they're going to sabotage their efforts to actually improve and live a happy, healthy life.
Right. Well, Opie was doing fine until he started yelling at her. Like he is being verbally abusive.
Yeah.
He is, belittling her and being very cruel. And this is not what you need when you're trying to recover from, intense, intrusive thoughts.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Singing Any Dream Will Do on Karaoke When My Wife Told Me Not to? I'm a 42-year-old male and my wife is 39. So last weekend, my wife and I went to karaoke bar with her friends. I love karaoke and I've always enjoyed singing a wide range of songs. I'm a pretty good singer and I used to be in a rock band when I was younger. My wife knows this, but she's always been a bit embarrassed by my choices, especially since I'm a pretty masculine looking guy, thick beard, and a lot of tattoos. Anyways, I decided to sing Any Dream Will Do from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. My wife pulled me aside, begging me not to do it, saying that it would be embarrassing for both of us. I didn't really see the big deal and thought that it would be fun, so I went ahead and did it anyways. So I did it and it really went well. The crowd was super into it, even joining in and singing the ah parts. By the end of the song, everyone was clapping and cheering. And honestly, one of the best karaoke experiences that I've ever had. It was a great time. Afterwards, a woman from the audience came up and asked if I would sing The Phantom of the Opera with her, and it was another big hit. We got a lot of applause. When I got back to my table, my wife was clearly upset. She said that I ignored her feelings and embarrassed her in front of our friends and a bunch of strangers. I tried to explain that everyone seemed to enjoy it and that it was all in good fun, but she wasn't having any of it and stormed off. The next day, she is calling me an insensitive jerk. Her friends have even said that I'm great fun and asked to go again. So, am I the jerk? Edit, I will respond to some comments soon, but please note that I am not going to divorce my wife over this. It is not that deep. Please don't message me saying that. I will talk to her properly, as perhaps there's something deeper to this. Alright, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I think on the face of it, it doesn't seem like OP is a jerk here. Now, if the wife had some, like, very strong negative attachment to this particular song,
Yeah.
that might have been one thing. But it sounds like she's opposed to any musical in general, because she also wasn't keen on the Phantom of the Opera thing.
Yeah.
And, it sounds like it just doesn't jive with her idea of masculinity, which is really unfortunate. And he shouldn't limit himself to try and fit into, the macho man box.
Yeah, I have a problem with the wife's attitude here. I think that this is problematic. If there was a, like you said, if there was a specific reason, some kind of trauma around that one particular song, I could see it. But why would you go to a karaoke bar and expect your partner not to sing karaoke?
Well, I think she was hoping he'd pick a manlier choice. This whole like, you're embarrassing me. I would ask her questions about how. Explain what is embarrassing about this, and
Yeah.
see if you can get to the bottom of it. And I imagine it's probably going to be some sort of, well, isn't what I think of when I think of you, or type of
Hmm.
thing. Maybe that will be illuminating for both of them. But assuming that it's not some deep-seated, my grandmother was run over by a musical type
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
thing. uh you know
Well, I think that this is a good opportunity for maybe them to open the door to couples therapy. Because there's clearly some things here in this relationship that they need to kind of work through and talk about. Maybe she should go into individual therapy as well, because, if she has some unhealthy, ideas about masculinity, this might be a deal breaker for a relationship if, she continues to view OP in a very narrow, focused way, right? And wants him to adhere to this very narrowed ideal of what it means to be a man.
right. And I don't know if they have kids, or are planning on kids, but if kids are there or are on the table, then it's important to kind of make sure your ideas mesh there, because you don't want to have a son and have him deny things he wants to do because that doesn't fit the wife's idea of masculinity. Maybe he'd be really into musical theater too.
Yeah, and I think that would be problematic at that point in time. But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Knock knock.
Who is knocking at my door? Go away. No solicitors.
Knock knock.
I said no solicitors.
Knock knock.
Jovial Bob sign, you can go away. We don't want any of what you're offering. We don't need any more joke books.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Ben.
I don't know a Ben. You can go away now.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Ben.
Ben who?
Been on any good trips lately?
No, I haven't, Ben. And I have Mega Mint.
Oh, and so Grizzly, a charity anthology, is available for pre-order currently. So right now it's just the ebook. So if you want the ebook copy, that's available for pre-order on Amazon. There will be a print copy as well, and that will become available on release day, which is July 31st.
Yeah, so we'll be posting a link to that at some point in time here soon. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior, folks.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please have it one fact on how to be a good husband and one fact on how to be a bad husband or how to avoid being a bad husband.
One fact on how to be a good husband: listen to your partner. One way to avoid being a bad husband is avoid belittling and dismissing what they're going through.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.